Campt im Rand. Alright guys, episode number 2 for Coffee with Tujamo. Thank you guys for tuning in again. Also, thank you for sending all your messages and questions. Don't be sad if your questions are not here in this video or in the last episode. We wrote down all the messages and questions and we're gonna answer them for sure in this episode or the next episode. Let's see. But first of all, now we're gonna go into the first 10 questions here. I think how I came up with the word Tujamo is the number one question in every interview I'm doing. Actually, I started this whole project Tujamo with my best friend back in the days, and we were just like two boys making music but still looking for a cool name, and we wanted to have a unique word which is not really existing before. So two actually just means two people, but we wrote it with you. Just makes more sense if you speak it. And JAMO are just our first names, first letters mixed. So my name is Matthias, it's MA, his name's Joshka, JO, and we just mixed it up and came up with the word Tujamo. And nothing and cut. Question number 2. So the good part for me is I'm able to travel a lot, I'm able to see different cultures, different countries. Yeah, if you ask me, I would never ever without DJing being able to travel that much. So I'm able to see the whole world with DJing. Stuff like that, and like playing your own tracks on big festivals and people are jumping around and you see their real reaction, and now our food comes. But the bad part is that you are missing a lot of birthdays, that you are not at home when it's Christmas time, for example, that on New Year's Eve you have to DJ, and all those kind of special days you're mostly not at home. But people are getting used to it, and yeah, that's quite okay then at the end. Favorite food. Alright, I used to hate fish back in the day. So when I was little, I couldn't even smell it. And then I was in Brazil years ago, and I was with a group of, I think, 10 people, and everyone wanted to do sushi. And I was like, no, let's go to McDonald's or let's have a burger. And everybody was like, no, come on, just try it. And then I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go with you, but I'm just having a drink. And then later I'll go to McDonald's. And then I was sitting there and everybody was like forcing me to try something. And I was like, I don't want to try it. And then I tried it and I was like, oh, this is not that bad. So at the end, I ended up with eating all the pieces of sushi from everyone else's plates. And everyone was laughing like crazy. And from that moment on, I was the biggest fan of sushi. So that's my favorite food. I think I could never really choose between being on stage or being in the studio the whole time. But I remember when I was younger, I was quite introvert, and I could never really imagine standing in front of thousands of people who are watching you and you are performing. But nowadays I can really enjoy that, I got used to it. But I also need some quiet days and some quiet time in the studio to recharge the batteries a little bit and being creative, and use that kind of creativity for the live shows then again. So back in the days when I started producing, I just watched a lot of tutorials on YouTube. So I had YouTube here, FL Studio here, and then I just recreated what this guy in the tutorial did. Then a little bit later, I just started to make a full copy of a song which I really liked. So I just reproduced the whole song just to learn the technique, how to make those sounds. Fun fact, I'm still doing that today. So when I'm off and I have a really cool song, which I'm like, yo, how did this guy do that kind of sound? I just recreate it until I'm able to do this on my own. This is a really cool technique to learn how to produce. I think I realized that I have my own sound since people started to call it the Tujamo kind of sound when they heard a brass sound or a horn sample or whatever. But I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into that. I'm gonna make a separate Q&A from the studio to answer all your questions about mixing and sound design and stuff, because I got so many messages, and yeah, I want to keep it a little bit more general here. Yeah, I was struggling a lot in the beginning actually, because of course I had zero money. I was just DJing on Fridays and Saturdays, and I was able to pay the rent of my apartment, but that was almost it. And I remember one month they cut down my electricity because I didn't pay the bill, and that was really horrible. But that was a good lesson for me to learn. I really have to work harder to make this whole thing work. And yeah, luckily it paid off, but it was really, really risky if I look back now. I have two different scenarios. Sometimes it takes me like 1 or 2 days to make a song, and the main idea is there in 1 hour. But also I have songs where the main idea is there, but I just cannot finish it because I'm not really creative, or I don't really feel the vibe, or I don't have the time. So it really depends. When I'm home, most of the time I'm in the studio, but I'm not every day creative. So I really have sometimes days where I'm not creative, then I'm just sorting some samples, or I'm looking for something new, or I'm still learning. I'm still recreating stuff to learn more about productions. But when I'm creative and when I have that point where I'm like, yo, this is a really cool idea, then sometimes I spend like 10 or 15 hours in a row because I really want to catch that vibe and I want to keep that vibe as long as it's there. My biggest dream, that's a good question. I would say I'm living my biggest dream already because I never really expected my life to turn into such a cool lifestyle where I'm able to travel a lot, where I'm able to see the world. I think I've seen so many countries which I would never see without traveling or DJing. And yeah, I'm just happy right now, and I hope, or my biggest dream would be that this is gonna stay for another 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. My favorite DJ, that's DJ Chucky from Holland, because when I started DJing and I was a resident DJ in a big club here in Germany, we booked him as an international superstar act. And then he was DJing and it was a pretty normal crowd, and then he arrived and he turned this whole club into a crazy party area, whatever. He just like grabbed the people and he just threw a massive party. But also when it comes to DJ skills, he was amazing. And since then, I think I've never seen anyone better than him. That was really, really impressive. Alright guys, that was it again. Thank you so much for having a coffee with me. I'm gonna see you guys next week here. Keep sending me the questions. Again, don't be sad if your question was not answered here. We still have the list and we're still gonna answer them during the next weeks. I hope you guys are still being safe and stay at home. I'm gonna see you soon. Bye bye. Take care.